the thing you're referencing over here about the bird sacrifice that Gene Deal said that he saw, what possible reason would you have to believe that that didn't happen? He was his bodyguard. He was there. You were not there. None of us were there. Why would you assume he's lying? What possible benefit does it give him to make a thing like that up? But you package it up with some random memes that were shared on Instagram and then pretend the entire thing is debunked. That's what these people do. It's what they always do. Now, have you ever seen an article titled Diddy and the Deep State? You better believe that there is a forthcoming video from your boy, okay? Because that is exactly what just dropped today. Diddy and the Deep State. And they are specifically referencing the Jeffrey Epstein story, the quote-unquote latest QAnon obsession. They're talking about a party that Diddy did from 2004, connecting it to current state Jeffrey Epstein stuff. Like, we're going deep, dude. They actually use the words satanic cabal in the first couple sentences of this article, okay? So yeah, we're getting into it. But it's in the Hollywood Reporter, so you got to ask yourself, you're like, wait a minute, the Hollywood Reporter is connecting Diddy, Epstein, and they're talking about the deep state? It's like, what could the context be? Funny, because we're going to talk about the entire thing, and then we're going to look at how they framed some things and then talk about some things that we know to be 100% factually accurate and, you know, basically squarely in my wheelhouse, right? But I wanted to start really quick with this story, all right? Because Sean Diddy Combs, in case you guys haven't heard, he's trying to get some help. He needs some self-help. And now, after being in his situation that he's been in for like since September, right? So like 10 months. Now he finally realizes that he does in fact need help for drug use and domestic violence, right? So these were things that he was not at all disputing at any point of the trial, right? So like, just to put this in perspective, right? They were never disputing the fact that he dragged, Cassie down the hall. They were never disputing that he was using drugs, right? That was never even up for debate. So the idea that he was at that point not taking these self-help programs while incarcerated because he didn't want to like admit to anything in the court, in the trial, that's wrong. That's definitely not correct. But now that he has been convicted of the lesser sentence, which is violating the Mann Act, which all it means is you transported people across state lines for the purpose of prostitution or whatever. Kind of a BS charge to begin with. But since he's been convicted of that, and yet the judge is still keeping him in jail and saying that he's because he's a menace to society, whatever, he's all, you know what I just realized is I really need help. I need to address my problems. Because if I don't do it, who's going to do it? You know, I just need to be honest about the issues that I have and start to be a better man. You're all, are you sure you're not doing this because you want to get a lighter sentence? He's like, of course I'm not doing this to get a lighter sentence. Are you out of your mind? Jeez. Let's be real. My name's Diddy, and I am definitely trustworthy. I would never do something to do it, purely out of self-interest. I want to protect the people around me. You're all right. And I want to protect all of you from being arrested by the DOJ for not subscribing to my channel and liking this video. It's a federal crime now. You guys didn't know that. I let you know to make sure none of you end up in a cell right next to Diddy. So subscribe, click the like, click the button, all of those things. This is my present to you today. All right, so deep state second with the cabal and all that stuff. First thing we're doing is we're going through this story. This is just really quick because I pretty much covered what it was. So Diddy no longer wants to be a bad boy for life. That is a funny line, actually. Sean Diddy Combs has reportedly signed up for in-prison therapy and various self-help programs as he awaits sentencing at the Brooklyn Metropolitan Detention Center in New York. The Act Bad rapper is supposedly enrolled in the STOP program, a course focused on preventing sexual assault, domestic violence, and date whatever. Additionally, Combs is reportedly undergoing therapy, the drug abuse program just now. Like, you would think he's like dead sober now. You've been in there since September. Oh, I'm sorry. He's allegedly been part of a drug treatment since he was arrested in September. Okay, so good for him. And I would imagine that, being sober for the first time in 30 years, man, she was a smoke though, dude. Cassie's a bad girl, but she is and I mean a smoke show, okay? I'm not calling her some kind of racial slur. I've heard people call black people smokes before, and I'm like, that's not what I mean. If I say that, I would never say that dude's a smoke. I always say that girl's a smoke. And what that means is she's a smoke show. It means she's a dime, okay? And she is exactly that. But like, So on July 2nd, Diddy was acquitted of more serious charges, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so bottom line is he's trying to get a lighter sentence. And, but this is the pretty important part, though, which is Combs is still facing dozens of lawsuits from men and women accusing him of a range of misconduct and other illegal activity. He has denied all wrongdoing. Okay, so obviously he's taking these classes to appear like a better person when he is sitting in front of a judge awaiting a potential 20-year sentence. He's facing up to 20 years. Like, this is a big deal. He's playing with his life. Like, his life is on the line. So make no mistake about that. This is really important. I don't fault him for doing this. I would do anything that I had to do to save my own life, dude. He's like in his 50s, man. If they give him a 20-year sentence, and let's say he serves 13, he'll get out when he's like, I don't even know, how old is he? Like early 50s? Like, gets out when he's like in his mid to late 60s. I mean, that's a huge, big deal, dude. Like, he should do everything that he has to do to get as little time as possible. Anyway, whatever. So let's move along, though, and let's take a look at the Diddy and the Deep State article, because this is really interesting. All right, so Diddy and the Deep State. Okay, now keep in mind, we are going through this article together, and how we're going to do this is we are going to read this as the Hollywood Reporter has written it. And fair warning for anyone who watches my content consistently, me and the Hollywood Reporter definitely do not have a lot in common in terms of the way we're going to view stories, right? Now, am I a person who is like full throttle QAnon? No, okay? But I know a lot of things, okay? Like, I know a lot of things. Pretty good at deciphering what's like horse shit and what's not. I would say the Hollywood Reporter, not so much. People who have gone all the way down the Q rabbit hole. There are some things that they believe that I'm like, whoa, like, that's a little much. So, regardless of which side you're on, you're probably going to find some alignment with me here, but that's how we're doing this, right? So, Hollywood Reporter says how a decades-old sushi party, federal trial, and sprawling online conspiracy community turned Sean Diddy Combs into the latest QAnon obsession. Now, if you ask me which of these groups, the Q people and whoever else is like looking at the specific like satanic cabal thing that we're talking about, like who has a more realistic view on it, that is hard to answer, because if you go all the way to the farthest edge of Q, like they have some pretty crazy ideas. But if you're on the other side and you think that all of that is just total nonsense that is not true at all, you are wrong. Okay, like I'm going to tell you that right now. You're wrong. You are incorrect. Okay. And anybody who still believes that in 2025, that there's no evidence of this, it's like, are you not listening to anything? Like, what do you think Jeffrey Epstein is? Like, why do you think everybody is hammering these guys to expose this? Why do you think the guy has some kind of weird satanic temple on his island, right? And like art of babies bathing in blood in his kitchen, okay? This verifies like all the stuff that we've been saying having to do with stuff that we've found out because of leaked emails that people never thought that they would see. That's where it started, okay? You want to know who a person is? You look at messages that are between them and one other person that they never believed anyone would see, okay? Stuff like that. Like, as an example, if someone said in a leaked DM that they fantasize about children being a little slave to, satisfy their sexual needs, what's the name of that person, right? It rhymes with get a mile, right? Get a mile, okay? Anybody on YouTube that you know that fits that description, Destiny? Anyway, it's 2004, and on a Saturday night in Miami, jet-set East Coast power players are packed into a star-studded party thrown by hip-hop's reigning mogul, Sean Diddy Combs, at a private mansion. The music is thumping, and by the way, I'll stop bringing that up as soon as you stop making jokes about dead kids, guy. Okay? Like, just stop making jokes about dead kids in my community. Like, that happened 10 minutes from my house. All those dead kids in Texas, that happened 10 minutes from my house. You joke about their dead carcasses. I tell everybody about what you said about, wanting to put your, you know what I mean? Sorry. Anyway, the music is thumping. The mostly white-clad crowd is glistening, and the room is dotted with very famous faces. There's Owen Wilson chatting with pre-meltdown Charlie Sheen. Deanna Ross, radiant in her white gown, sweeps past and grabs Will Smith by the shoulder to say hello. And at the center of it is center of this Puff Daddy, a.k.a. P. Diddy, a.k.a. Mr. Combs. AKA Mr. Love, or whatever he said his name is, also basking in the glow of his own empire, having conquered music, fashion, and media, all before the age of 40. By the way, this is hilarious. That's the first time I've even thought about this. One of my kids' favorite things that I used to do is I would read that, you read your kids a story. I would read them stories, but in like the voice of all these different weirdos. So like they're like, do surfer guy. And so I would read it like as a surfer, and they thought it was the funniest thing ever. Like, so in my house, we don't really give a fuck about swearing in front of our kids. They know they're not allowed to swear, obviously. Oh, I don't know if that's obvious, but they're not allowed to swear. But I drop F-bombs all the time in front of them. No, sorry guys. Like I just do. It's just one of those things. I don't care about those words. And actually, if I'm being honest, it's kind of like a thing that I do intentionally so they understand the difference between adults and kids. I can do things you can't do. Okay. I can say fuck all I want. You still can't say it, and you definitely can't say it outside that. You can't say it in the house, can't say it outside the house. That's what parenting is. I do shit you don't get to do. Now, that is one thing that's kind of like do what I say, not what I do, but it's important to establish who the man is. You know what I mean? But I'm going to do this with you guys, okay? Like, the reason I bring up the swear words is because I would inject swear words into these kids' books and they would fucking hysterically laugh. Like, they would literally laugh like jackals. They thought it was the funniest thing they'd ever heard in their life. Like, I just thought of it right there because that's like one of the voices I used to use. That is not important. Anyway, all right, soon the crowd is watching him, transfixed, as the modern icon stands beside the most jaw-dropping element of his already over-the-top bash. Basically, I'm reading this in the voice that I think the Hollywood Reporter, like, hears themselves. Do you know what I'm saying? They're like, this is intense, and this is me being an incredible journalist. Okay, the most jaw-dropping element of his already over-the-top bash, a nude woman wearing a strategically placed leaf, covered in sushi, laid out on a table for guests to nibble from. Cameras flash as Combs addresses the crowd, presiding over the scene like a master of ceremonies, or something else entirely. What do they mean? So stupid, dude. I love thinking about people writing this and then like, editing it, and they're all, cameras flash, and it's like, and he addresses the crowd, presiding over the scene like a master of ceremonies. They're like, this is like poetry. And you're like, maybe, or the job that you have is meaningless and stupid. You're talking about P. Diddy, and you're about to discredit something that you have no idea about, that you've done no actual research on. But okay, I'm glad, good job. Cut to 2024, 2 decades later, as Combs' legal troubles mount, old photos from that night, including several, where he appears to be lording over the sushi display, made their way online and quickly took on a new, much darker meaning. In the eyes of certain internet fringe, those images weren't just retro decadence. They were evidence of a ritual, of a live human sacrifice. Oh my gosh. Quote, eat a woman adreno vibes, spirit cooking Abramovich style. Diddy was a high witch, read one viral tweet, suggesting the party wasn't a celebration, but a satanic rite staged by a, quote, high-level wizard of the entertainment elite. This is your brain on QAnon. Okay, so for the record, okay, this is exactly what I'm talking about, right? So let's just check this out, right? Okay, so this is what the picture is, okay? Now, do I think this is some kind of satanic ritual? No, I don't. I think that he's eating sushi off a naked girl like a freak, and he probably got that idea from the movie Rising Sun with Sean Connery, which is one of the best movies from that era ever, and most people have not seen it. If you're like under 35, almost no chance you've seen the movie Rising Sun, and you should, because it's the shit. That movie is fucking dope, dude. Okay, dope. Naked girl with sushi on it, okay? Everybody's talked about that all throughout the last however long. That's the movie that it came from, okay? That's the movie that it came from, and it's a great scene. Anyway, okay? Anyway. But the reason why they're saying that this is giving off Abramovich spirit cooking vibes is because of this, okay? Marina Abramovich. Here we go. Look at that. Resume browsing, because I've already looked at this, okay? Whoops. There we go. So why don't you guys take a look at this? Hey, does this, what about that? Does that look like something normal? Does this look like something normal, guys? Because this is Marina Abramovich's party where she made you know how you can make cakes that look like anything? Like Mr. Beast just did a thing. Well, she made people and then had all these celebrities cutting off pieces of their leg and then eating it. Look at that, dude. Okay, that's just one of them. Does that not kind of freak you out? This one? How about this? Hey, what does that picture do for you? Hey, nothing weird about that, guys. Okay, nothing weird about that. So that's what they're referencing when they say that. Well, they're referencing these like human cake things that she did, right? But the spirit cooking thing, okay? And then look at this one, dude. Look at that. Okay? This is our top art world gala edible. This is a person that they made look like a girl who had been cutting herself, and then they ate the cake, and it looks like they ate a human. But to be clear on what spirit cooking is, okay, I want to be very clear about this, because spirit cooking is a satanic ritual. There's no debate here. This is not up for debate. This is exactly what it is, okay? And the reason everyone found this out is because Hillary Clinton, her chief of staff, had an email that was like, Marina needs to know if you're going to the spirit cooking thing at her house, right? So everyone's all, what the hell is spirit cooking? They look into it. This is not even a secret. You can find it at the New York Times. Okay, spirit cooking is a ritual that she does, some kind of art ritual where they mix semen and blood and urine and all this stuff, and then they drink it, and it's like crazy, okay? So semen, blood, urine, drink it, ceremony, whatever, cut into your finger with a knife. This is not even up, again, New York Times, look it up. Then I found that exact same ritual somewhere else, and guess where it was, okay? It was in the, what's his name? Alexander Crowley's book of satanic stuff, okay? Like, it is a satanic ritual. This is a fact, okay? The identical ceremony is in Crowley's book. Do you really want to argue with me about whether or not he was a Satanist? If you don't know who he is, look him up. Look up Alexander Crowley, Satanist, the most famous Satanist ever. Okay, there's a bunch of cults based on his beliefs, okay? So, again, when you hear this stuff, they're all, when you go here and they're all, this is your brain on QAnon. It's like, no, this is your brain on, I've actually read about this before, as opposed to you, who read one article. It was like, QAnon debunk conspiracy theory. You know nothing. Like, you don't know anything about anything. You're in embarrassment, but you don't know to be embarrassed because you haven't actually researched anything. Okay? Anyway, it sounds, oh my God, I hate articles that do this, dude. That makes me crazy. Because like these articles, like if you try to highlight them like I do, it just shoots it up to the top. Anyway, it sounds nuts, and it is, but that's the whole point. As Combs became the center of the biggest entertainment scandal in years, conspiracy theorists seized on the moment and ran wild. Long before his trial even began, the QAnon crowd had already twisted the narrative. If he was convicted, it would signal the cabal's collapse. If he wasn't, it would prove just how deep the cover-up goes. Suddenly, a decade-old sushi stunt was reimagined as an actual human sacrifice. That's not what they said. And Diddy was no longer just a music mogul battling real-life allegations disturbing enough on their own. He was the latest symbol of Hollywood's alleged satanic cabal. And this is why I'm saying, this is why you listen to my channel, okay? This is why you listen to my channel, because this person is an idiot. They have this completely wrong, okay? But also, anyone who is on that side who actually believes that this, that this thing with the sushi girl is an actual like satanic like human eating thing, you're dumb too. It's neither of those things, okay? It's neither of those things. Like, not everything has to be the same. Okay, like this can be a real trial because Diddy betrayed BlackRock, sued Diageo, like we talked about a million times, and he has very powerful people who want to bury him under the jail. Okay, that can be true. And also there can be a bunch of satanic, proof of satanic people in very elite places doing really crazy stuff. Okay. Both those things can be true at once. And they are. Okay. They are true. Good God. Now I need a drink because I'm so worked up. I'm not actually, this is just how I be, dude. Anyway. So, for an indeterminate number of the 20% of American adults who believe in some aspect of the QAnon delusion, I love that, dude. They believe in it. Oh my God, I will lose my mind, dude. believe in some aspect of the QAnon delusion, which means any person with a brain who has looked into some of the things that they say, which apparently does not include you, okay? Does not include you. I could send this person one single video and they would completely flip. Like I sent it to my mom, okay? I sent it to my mom. My mom stays away from all this stuff, and she definitely is about as far from a QAnon person as exists on earth. I sent her Mouthy Buddha, Beetlegate Part 1, and I was like, just watch this and tell me what you think. Because I'm honestly curious. Like, I want like a person who's smart, but thinks that, like just is not going to be convinced of anything great. She watched it. I'm like, what do you think about that? She's all, disgusting. And I was like, right. And I'm like, anything there that you would question? She's like, I don't really know. I mean, what could you question? It's like, exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Okay. It's as simple as this. You've either looked at the material or you haven't. Okay. There's nothing to question. Okay. There's nothing to question because there are no hard conclusions. It's just stuff where any person who looks at, let's say hypothetically, one of the most powerful people in Washington, D.C., and you look at their Instagram, and it is absolutely chock full with direct satanic references and then pictures of like babies in blood and stuff like that, or like babies holding skulls and like a noose and, like think of like the Balenciaga ad that the entire world went crazy over and then make it 5 times worse. And that's your entire Instagram. And that's a person who's on the list of DC's top 20 most powerful people. Is that something that you would want to look into? You're like, what is wrong with this person? And then they make everything private, but it's too late because people already captured all of it. Now you can go look. You know what I mean? Like that. Oh, that's not suspicious at all. 15th most powerful person in Washington, D.C. has nothing but pictures of like goats hanging like this. And like, I mean, give me a break. QAnon, which began in 2017 but draws on centuries-old conspiracy tropes, had been in a lull. Its followers, who believe that a cabal of Democratic politicians, Hollywood elites, and media figures are Satan-worshiping pedophiles, secretly being hunted by... God, is that really what they believe? Is that really what the base of the Q thing is? Is like that they're all Satan-worshiping and they're being hunted by the current president? That's... I don't know. I mean... If that's like the basis of the entire belief system, it's like, I mean, someone could make an argument, This would be a bad week to do that, though, since it seems like all of a sudden the big guy had a change of heart. It's all, no one needs to know anything about the Epstein list, y'all. Say what, dude? What are you talking about? The Q people didn't need new orders. When the Diddy scandal exploded, the movement simply adapted. The old footage, the extravagant parties, the whispers about freak-offs and compromat. For the true believers, it all clicked into place. Yeah, no shit. Because it's exactly what we've been saying all along. And then it was like, oh, there you go. We were right. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, they just adapted it? It's like, how about it's exactly what we've been saying? Like, why can't anyone just go, oh, yeah, it looks like they might have been right. You know what I mean? Like, how is this your take? Oh, they just adjusted everything to fit the truth. And you're all, or the truth fit exactly what we were saying. I mean, that's an unbelievable sentence. That is an unbelievable sentence. Like, the shift came as the federal authorities were bearing down on Combs. In early 2024, he was indicted on 5 counts, including sex trafficking, transportation, and prostitutes. But by the time his trial ended in a split verdict, guilty on 2 counts, acquitted on the most serious, the viral tweet about his, quote, eat a woman party had been viewed more than 4 million times. These branches of the Q saga are based on on some level of reality, says Kevin McCurry, an executive in residence at Emerson College and expert in conspiracy theory culture. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, they are based on some level of reality. I agree. Jeffrey Epstein obviously had done something egregiously wrong, but there's a big hole there. Where did he really get his money from? And who was on the plane? Who was that little black book? I think with Diddy, there's a similar level of mystery, right? It's exactly the same thing. We don't have firsthand knowledge of what happened at those parties. Some people have talked about what was purportedly leaked, but there's enough of a hole in the story. Q or anybody else can fill that hole. I mean, that's fair, I guess. And Phil, they did. Message boards lit up. Threads on 4chan, Reddit built elaborate timelines tying Combs to underground trafficking tunnels. Hollywood Red Room's occult rituals, and TikTok and YouTube algorithms help too, rewarding creators who reposted old party footage, including the sushi on women moment, with ominous captions in coded language. Views soared into the millions. That's funny, because anytime that I do anything that looks like Q, not a single new person sees it. None. Only people who are actively subscribed to my channel see it. That's it. Okay? So that's funny that they say that. You know, speaking of which, go ahead and like this video and subscribe. Chief among them, Gene Deal, Combs' former bodyguard, a longtime presence at the bad boy camp. Deal reemerged as a prolific YouTube guest, offering up cryptic and at times unhinged theories, tying his former boss to everything from literal blood sacrifice to political corruption. Hang on. I just want to make sure that I understand this. The Hollywood Reporter is reporting this. Chief among them, Gene Deal, Combs' former bodyguard, okay, Deal emerged as a prolific YouTube guest, offering up cryptic and at times unhinged theories, tying his former boss to everything from literal blood sacrifice to political corruption. Unhinged? He was his bodyguard. Okay, you're a writer for a Hollywood Reporter. He was standing right next to Diddy for a decade or more. He says, I saw him do a blood sacrifice. And you're like, oh my God, what an unhinged conspiracy theory. What are you talking about? How are you in a position to call him unhinged? He was there. This is what I'm talking about. This is what you get every single time that you have these left-wing journalists cover this stuff, dude. Every single time. What position are you in to discredit this? None is the answer. You have no position to discredit this at all. Okay, so yeah. Oh, yeah. Deal also appears in the documentary about Shine, recounting a bizarre story where he claims to have witnessed Combs performing a bird sacrifice in Central Park before their joint trial. And then look, whether Deal believed it or not, the Q crowd certainly did. Yeah, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you believe him? People ain't going to tie this together, Deal said in the video, but if you look at it, you have to say because of Mayor Adams and his relationship with Diddy, it brought on the Southern District of New York to start investigating Diddy on civil lawsuit that was put against him because the feds are going after all these politicians in New York City. Like, well, I mean, honestly, I don't even know what to do with that. That's such a stupid sentence. Like, that is literally such a stupid sentence. He says he was there. He was there when Diddy did a bird sacrifice. And they say, and of course, the QAnon believed it. And you're like, why would you not believe it? This is my problem with them. You're like, what evidence do you have that didn't happen? Aside from that you heard that the Q thing has gotten debunked. Okay, well, what does this have to do with Q? Just because the Q people believe a witness, that means that it's not true because anything that these people believe is obviously fake? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, literally, what are you talking about? Idiot. That is so crazy. Okay, and then they're talking about how people have indicated that when Kim Porter died from pneumonia, very bizarre situation, and they're saying, oh, and there's been rumors that this guy had cyanide, they die from pneumonia. And, meanwhile, a self-published book written under a pseudonym attributed to Porter's diaries, and that one was fake. So, internet is bracing for a bombshell. Conspiracy theorists had spun up elaborate narratives implicating not just the mogul, but a long list of celebrities that have been attended by his so-called free shots. Jennifer Lopez, they claimed, had filed for divorce from Ben Affleck to shield him from financial ruin ahead of her own imminent arrest. Ashton Kutcher and Ellen DeGeneres had allegedly fled the country. Beyonce was supposedly caught singing Ava Mara in a child traffic beneath the Capitol. Justin Bieber had even dropped a cryptic AI-generated revenge track called I Lost Myself at a Diddy Party, they claimed. Okay, who cares? Like, you're saying a person put this up on the internet and some dumbbells believed it. Yes, okay? Like, sometimes that stuff happens. Okay, so like, but you're putting all of this together as if it's all debunked. That's the problem, okay? This is the problem. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, this is literally exactly what I'm talking about, okay? So what they're doing in this article is they are taking extreme examples of things that have not been proven that sound crazy, And they are combining them with things that have firsthand credible witnesses saying that they happened. And they're like, can you believe that these guys believed all this stuff? And you're like, well, these are all different things. Okay. Because the thing you're referencing over here about the bird sacrifice that Gene Deal said that he saw, what possible reason would you have to believe that that didn't happen? He was his bodyguard. He was there. You were not there. None of us were there. Why would you assume he's lying? What possible benefit does it give him to make a thing like that up? But you package it up with some random memes that were shared on Instagram and then pretend the entire thing is debunked. That's what these people do. It's what they always do.